Welcome to 7 for 12 Live, the preview show of the fifth and the final test match up at Old Trafford. What an intriguing test match it's going to be. Fantastic series we've had so far. A lot to discuss, a lot to talk about. Don't forget to leave a review, like, and subscribe. Well, I'll answer all your questions on 7 for 12 preview show, but looking ahead to what is going to be, it's been a great series, a fantastic test match. And questions from my mind would be, do England change their bowling unit because of back-to-back test matches? It's a huge ask. Who's fit for India? Do they go in with a winning formula? Is Ajinkya Rahane holding on to his test place by the skin of his teeth? All that we'll come to in a second. But when I look at the England side and I look at what happened at the Oval, it was a great test match at the Oval. I was there for 3 days with John Norman. And by the way, the reason why I'm here by myself, John will be with us for the whole of the 5 days of the test match series. He's not with us today because I think it's Dolores' first day at school. So we wish the Norman family very, very well. At this minute in time, there'll be, I'm sure there'll be tears in the eyes of Mr. and Mrs. Norman. Either Dolores goes in, not a problem, and doesn't care that mum and dad are wishing their daughter a great day at school, and she's not bothered about mum and dad, having spent a lot of time with them over the school holidays, or trying to wrestle her into school for the first time. Been there, John, done that, and got many, many T-shirts from all of them. So good luck with that. And when you come to the series and the test match in Manchester, it's set up to be another fantastic finale. And England, well, they set the stall out, haven't they? They've brought Jos Buttler back into the group and the team. Is it a good thing? Well, I think Joe Root needs him more from tactical calm and influence, standing next to him at slip, everything that goes with what Jos Buttler brings from a senior player's point of view. I've got my doubts, I must admit. 2 test match hundreds in 53 test matches. The way Johnny Bairstow performed in that first innings, I possibly would have gone with the status quo. But I think it's one change for England, especially in the top order and the batting department. And I can only see Bairstow coming out and Buttler going in. Ollie Pope did brilliant at the Oval in the first innings. And I think England needs to build their lower batting order around the young batsman from Surrey. So from the batting department, I don't have a problem. The bowling department, let's see who's going to be fit, because Anderson and Robinson have bowled 163 and 166 overs respectively. Wood has to play. Is Overton fit because of the bang he had on his shoulder? Is Curran going to give us anything more? Brought 2 spinners into the squad. A question here, should England be resting Anderson and Robinson? Well, I don't think they've got any choice. I think they might have to play them both. For the simple fact is the 2-1 down in the series, needs must. I think you have to go with your best 2 bowlers in England's. Sayak, the best 2 bowlers England have got are Robinson and Anderson at this moment in time. Wood has to play, though, because it gives you something different on an Old Trafford surface, which will have a little bit more pace in it, possibly a little bit more bounce in it. And Old Trafford is very abrasive, so that brings reverse swing in. And I think Wood needs to come in for that reason. So keep your questions coming, and I'll answer them the best I possibly can. From India's point of view, where's Rahane? Where's he at? For the simple fact, eight balls in that innings at Old Trafford. I thought he was way out of form. Yes, Sandeep. Hello, Harmy sir. What do you think of playing out of form Rahane in the 5th test match? Is it good for India? Well, I would have made a change before the 4th test match. I thought Vihari would have been brought into that middle order, but it seems the stubbornness of Virat Kohli, and we've seen that with Ashwin not coming back in, and the management unit, who are in isolation at this moment in time, want to give Ajinkya Rahane every single chance to rediscover the form, which has made him a fantastic batsman throughout his career for India. So, look, I would have made the change, but I think India will keep faith with the rock in the middle of the order, who gives more than just runs. I think he gives a lot of leadership qualities in that team, and I think India will stick with him for this one last test match and hope that he comes into a little bit of form going in. If he doesn't perform in this test match, then you might have seen the end of Ajinkya Harmy along with the likes of Ishant Sharma, who coming to the end of the latter part of their career and might find it hard with the unbelievable talent that India have got. If one of these young players gets in and stays in, and Rahane, he has to really perform if he's picked in this test match at Old Trafford. So I fully expect Rahane to play. I don't see there being too many changes in the batting unit unless Rohit Sharma and Pachara are injured. They've got themselves in a winning position, and if they're going to make any change, it might be in the bowling department. But like I said, keep the questions coming, and we'll try and answer them as much as you can. And what will be the behaviour of the pitch in Manchester? Well, what I'll say, Anand, is it is going to rain, and that nothing to do with the pitch, but that will have an effect on the atmosphere, and it will have an effect on what sort of swinging conditions, which will make the pitch doubly harder from a batting department point of view. If the pitch is what I expect the ball to bounce a little bit more than what we've had so far this summer. It doesn't normally bounce as much as the Oval, but the Oval didn't bounce at all. So I'm expecting a little bit more bounce at Manchester. And if the sun comes out, then it'll be decent for batting on. I expect it to turn later in the game, probably day 3, day 4. But what you will have is an abrasive surface. I always found when I bowled in England, the test matches I played at home, Trent Bridge and Manchester were really hard underfoot. The footholds, they got rock solid and they got jagged edges, and it was difficult. Day 3, day 4, day 5 to get a comfortable, solid base when you were trying to bowl and keep your action because of the abrasiveness of the way the surface works at Manchester. And what that will bring is hopefully some indifferent bounce later on in the test match, but it will also bring, because it's abrasive, it'll bring reverse swing into play. So a lot of times it reverses at Manchester, and a lot of time it spins at Manchester. So will Virat Kohli relent and not play his 4 seamers, play his 3 seamers, and play R. Ashwin? But I think the pitch will be good early in the test match and then spin and be a little bit uneven towards the end of sort of day 4 and day 5, which for me will make a fantastic test match surface. It's always a great pitch at Manchester. It's always a great occasion. The ground is magnificent now. Congratulations to Lancashire County Cricket Club, because they have really, in the last 5 to 10 years, transformed that ground into a very, very good test venue, and the pitch hasn't disappointed. So, yeah, I think it'll be a good surface, but a good cricket surface between bat and ball. Austin, will this be Jimmy Anderson's last home test match? Well, it will be his last home test match at Manchester, because we had the announcement this week that test venues for next year and one-day venues for next year, and there's no Manchester test match next summer. So I don't see Jimmy going on two more summers. So this is why they've got to go back to Anderson again. 5 test matches in 6 weeks. That's why I would have left him out of the Oval. Not because I wanted to leave Jimmy Anderson out. It's because we needed him for this test match. And boy, do we need him now. He looked as though he was quite tired towards the end of the Oval. But we need him. We need him to stand up. And he will. Got no doubt whatsoever. The great Jimmy Anderson will be ready for Old Trafford for one last time. Because I don't see him playing in 2 summers' time. So I think it will be his last home test match, as in on home soil in Manchester. But I think if he goes away in the winter, he'll play cricket next summer for England around the country. But unfortunately for Jim, it'll not be at Manchester. Can we now include Rohit Sharma in the Fab 5? I'm not so sure quite yet. Get him in the Fab 5. He's always been the best white ball, and now in red ball, he's in the top 5 of the ICC Test rankings. Only player in both ODI and Test top 5. Look, I've got no doubt this guy is one of the best batsmen in the world. I think he's proved that. I think he's been excellent on this tour so far. He said, was it 2 test matches ago? He said, my goal when I came here, especially as a new ball, facing the new ball in England, Can I face 100 balls? Well, he's done that the majority of the time, and he's got his team off to a fantastic start. Is he in the Fab Five? Well, I think he's in the Fab Three of one day in cricket. Is he in the Fab Five of Test match cricket? You know what? I'll say yes if he gets 100 at Manchester and backs up what he did at Old Trafford, because that's what great players do. They back up 100 and then they get another 100. First, I think, is it first 100 on overseas soil as an opener? I think he needs another couple before he can get into the Fab Five. But I think he's not. I don't think he's too far away. So the confidence that he'll have off the back of the oval will be ominous signs for England bowlers. But I don't think he's too far away. He's a fantastic player. He's one of the best white ball players I've seen of the modern generation, and he's slowly but surely forging himself a very, very good technique in defence from a Test opening batsman point of view. And we all know what a great shot maker he is. So he's not far away, I will say. Ask Harmy, is keeping one eye on the Ashes have an adverse effect on how we play against teams like India? Well, Christopher Dunn, no, I don't think one eye on the Ashes is. I just think England at this moment in time are struggling for resources when it comes to bowling department. I think there's a lot of players that we could have picked who are not fit, and we'll keep asking Anderson and Robinson to go back to the well and finding these extra overs that we need them to find, with the likes of Archer and Stone, especially two fast bowlers missing, Broad missing, huge that was for England, and day three of the Oval. I think we really missed Ben Stokes. I know we missed him all series, but we really missed Ben Stokes. Not much happening. Sharma and Keir Rowell batted beautifully. Flat wicket, ball gone soft. We needed a little injection, and normally we get that off our great all-rounder. Freddie did it in my time. Beefy did it the time before. And Joe Root turns to Ben Stokes every now and again and says, you know what, light the crowd up. Let's get something going. And we just didn't have that. But India play well under pressure. For me, the reason why India beat England or are winning against England is because at the latter part of the Test match, when bodies are getting tired, mentally getting fatigued, you are asked to perform under pressure. And when you're not used to that, that's when you come unstuck. It happened at the Oval. It happened at Lord's. And that's why this India side is a great side, because they play pressure better than anybody else in world cricket, because they're constantly under pressure in every single thing they do when it comes to their cricket, red ball and white ball. And I think that's the difference between this side. Will Robinson be rested, and will England play a second spinner in Leach plus Wood? Well, yeah, it's a good question. It's a very, very good question. I would say we'd play two spinners at Old Trafford against a lot of Test playing nations, but probably not India. I don't think we can. If we play two spinners against India, lose a toss and bowl first. And if you play Wood, you have to drop two seamers to get Wood and Leach into the side. If you're asking Robinson and Anderson to go again, or Anderson and, I'd say, an Overton, or Anderson and Wokes, or Anderson and Curran to go again, you're basically saying, right, if Wood doesn't hit his straps because he hasn't bowled for a while and pace on the ball, you're going back to Anderson and going back to Anderson, and you'll end up breaking him. So for me, I think England, unfortunately, have to play four seamers on this surface. India play spin very, very well. They'll understand the game situation, and they'll want to keep on top of they'll get on top of the spinner if England lose the toss and bowl first. And then it means you go back to your containing seamers to try and hold the game for you when you've asked them to bowl 150, 160 overs so far this series. So I think against anybody else, I think you might return to Jack Leach. I just don't think they will in this Test match. The pitches in four-day cricket have turned big time at Old Trafford, but I think we're playing on a different surface. The Test pitch will be held together a lot more and for a lot longer, which would mean it's good for batting on, and it'll deteriorate later in the game. England will not want to lose the toss, go in with three seamers, especially two have been performing all summer, and then have to go back to them and keep going back to them. That could cost them the game. G. Paul's back. Should India stick with the same 11 or include Ashwin? I would go with Ashwin, I must admit, on this surface. I'd go with Ashwin. My team, if I was picking the India side, I would definitely have Ashwin in, but I've said that for 5 Test matches, and so has nearly everybody else. The only one that thinks differently is Virat Kohli. But I'd go with Shami if he was fit. I'd go with Bumrah one more time, and I'd go with Thakur, Ashwin, and Jadeja. And the reasons why: I think Siraj has run his race. I think he's had a very, very good summer in England, but I think his legs have gone now. I think his body's, he's a young man. He's still trying to forge a Test career. Umesh looked as though he was tiring at the back of the Oval Test match. Can he play back-to-back Test matches? I thought he bowled brilliantly in that Oval Test match. And from there, that's where I'd go. They're going to stick with Rahane, Jadeja at 5 or 6, Pant at 7. That means you'd have Ashwin at 8, Thakur at 9, Bumrah and Shami. I think that's a well-balanced team for me for the Old Trafford Test match. Gives you 3-seam option, gives you 2-spin option. It lengthens your batting. You're 2-1 up, and you're putting pressure on England. So don't forget, keep sending the questions in. We'll be here throughout the Test match series. John will be back for day 1 at Old Trafford on Friday afternoon. And fingers crossed we have another fantastic day of Test match cricket. Thanks for joining us. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a review.